Alright, so I'm back, and today what we're going to do is we're going to try and fix a few issues with this TFC Poseidon set. So here we've got the snap trap, and what I did was I took off the back shell, and I got this pin out that was holding the head in place. Now, I wanted to do that on camera. Unfortunately, it was such a pain to get this pin out. What I ended up having to do was actually cut the... So this is the new plastic piece, but I ended up having to cut this whole plastic piece apart to be able to finally get in there to get to that pin and use a pair of pliers to really like pull on it. So if you're gonna do this, make sure you're gonna do this like the one time. It's not gonna go back. So once it's done, it's done. Where did that piece go? Alright. So we're going to get this back in there. And so you want to go this way so that this tab here will plug into here. That slot there. So just make sure that that's going to line up. And it does come with a new pin, so that's good. But yeah, like I said, this thing is a major pain to work with. If the shell came off, it might have been a little bit easier, but it doesn't, so... It doesn't really fit in there all too well. And we're going to try to line this all up and push this through. I think this is a case of the pin probably fit better without the paint. And that's the probably the problem we're having here. Oh my god. I don't think this is going to go back in. This is one of those repair jobs that we really shouldn't have to do. They should have done this at the factory, or maybe, you know, if they're going to replace this piece, maybe do like a whole new back piece of the shell, or this section of the shell, so you can just do the screws. Because the screw work's not that hard. It's this pinning that is such a pain in the ass. So I can get it to go through here okay. It's then I have to get it to go through here. That's the problem. Oh, this is great. I absolutely love this project. Thank you, TFC, for not knowing how to make a toy fun. See, now what it's doing is it's just sliding out from here. I'm having a hard time keeping it where it needs to be. So let's pull it back out. So I got some of this speed grease that I used on some of those Generation Toys Constructicons. So we're going to try and get this back through here. Alright, now what we're going to do is we'll get a little bit of this grease here. We're going to try and grease this pin. Maybe that will help it go through the head a little bit easier. Maybe, maybe not. We'll find out. And my big issue here is that this is such light, thin plastic. I'm afraid to put too much pressure on certain parts and break it that way, because that would be really, really crappy. To get this far and then just break it. It's just, it does not want to work with me. Oh, come on. I just don't have any clearance to do anything, is the problem. I'm really having a hard time just getting things in there. Alright, we're going to try this a different way then. Oh, come on. Alright, so what I did, I'm grabbing it on here. I just... Looks like about halfway down. Alright, now we're going to try and push this section through and then bend the plastic and hope we don't break it. Fuck. That's just so much fun. I love that. That was wonderful. Thank you, TFC, for doing that. That was incredible. All right. And yes, I know I don't technically have to replace it, but let's see if it actually does any improvement. So we're going to put the shell back together. A couple little scrapes on the shell now because of that. Oh well. We're just going to put the shell back together. this is one of those things where it's like, it's nice that the shell's permanently attached. But at the same time, it's a pain in the ass to do any projects like this because everything's getting caught up. It's very hard for everything to get out of its own way. Last one goes right in the middle here. Surprised I haven't dropped any of these screws considering my fingers are now, there we go, covered in that grease. Alright, now we're going to put the head back on. Alright, now, before we get him back into combine mode, one thing I wanted to see, my big question on whether or not this works, is will this go back in to the shell easily? So first off, we gotta get these things apart. Alright, and then we can rotate this around. Okay, so it goes in there pretty easily. Pull it out. Okay, double hinge it. And then we're able to... Are we able to feed it through easily? Yes, yes, it does. It does help with the transformation a little bit. As long as you manipulate it a little bit as you go. And now we'll put him back into combine mode. And we got one more little project to do before I'm done with this again. And that is alright, so get that all tabbed in. So plug that in. And now the head, see the head before would only sit back here. So now we can double hinge it forward and have it sit a little bit closer. And I do like that better. It does help. And like I said, it does help with the transformation, so. All right. Go. Alright. So now he's back in torso mode. And now I've already done this on one, so let me show you what I did and then we'll do it together for the second one. So all I did was I opened up this guy, his torso piece here, and just flip this hinge around. So now that the cap is on the top instead of at the bottom, so when you've got weight going down, it won't pull right off the port like it was designed to do before. Now, before you do this, you want to do like a quick check and make sure, like, when this is straight up and down, that like this slot isn't in there for any actual purpose. So as you see, robot mode, no. And that one, no. Looks like everything works just fine. And then you pull the head out. The head sits forward enough that I don't think that's going to affect it. It shouldn't. So let's go ahead and take them apart and find out. So you want to just kind of get everything out of the way a little bit. And just undo the screws. That's one. Two. Alright, so we got the screws out. So we're just going to pull the torso apart. Alright. So just take this apart and flip it around. Just like that. Take this, put it right back together. And before we attach it, we want to make sure we put these back on. Preferably the appropriate way, which I think I got, yeah. And if not, I'll have to go back in and fix it later. Alright, now with it all connected, you can see the head does still sit still sits flush, no problems. And now we know that we're good to go, so let's put it all back together. And all in all, that was a very quick fix for a problem that shouldn't have been. All right. So let's get him back together. Okay. Pull this up. Head goes back in. And just pull the wings up forward. Just like that. I may have put this on wrong. Oh well. Take one of these little thingies, and now you can slide it in pretty easily. And rotate it down. Now let's get him back into combine mode. Now the other thing I did with the feet is I took off all the insert pieces. These doohickeys, and we'll see if without them it increases the durability of the overall figure. So Okay. Piece of cake. The ball joints are really tight, so they're having a little difficulty maneuvering. Now we can take these and we just slide them straight down on the combiner port, and you're done. Rather than trying to slide them up. All right. Definitely is a lot sturdier, to be honest with you. I think these side pieces kill his durability. Because as you can see, he's still a little on the floppy side, but he's not falling over nearly as bad. I have some rubber padding I'll probably glue onto his feet at some point. I'd show you, but I don't know if you guys would be able to get the same rubber padding, so it would be kind of pointless. So, but I would definitely recommend, if you can find some rubber padding to glue onto the bottom of the feet, do that. That should help the slide aspect of it. And once his feet are stable, then the rest of his core should be pretty stable. These pieces, I mean, they're more for show, so it'd be kind of up to you if you want to leave them on or off. These ones do add extra tilts and rockers and stuff, but I can't recommend them because they're not stable enough to really make that work. So, and the arms, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, it shouldn't have even needed to. I mean, look, we got these shoulder locks that did no good whatsoever. We could still pop them on. Yeah, they'll still slide in there just fine, but they don't do any good. And just to show you him against another combiner, here he is with the Unique Toys Abominus, which I'll be looking at next. And yeah, I like it. I like it now a lot better. The head needed to come up a little bit further. It had to happen. The way they did it with that pin sucks. It's not a fun project. I would definitely put aside, a couple hours. Don't be like, oh, I can knock this out in about 5-10 minutes. It's going to take you a little while. The flipping around the arms is a piece of cake. It's one of those, like I said, it shouldn't have happened to begin with. I could kind of understand the knees having it angled that way, and maybe that's what they were going for. But ultimately, no. It was stupid. They shouldn't have done it that way. I like the Abominus so much better because everything locks into place just like every other combiner. You don't have to slide it in and hope for the best. I mean, there's no lockers on this. None whatsoever. So that's still a downside. And taking out those ankle pieces definitely helps it. So it brings it up to, I'd say, a 7 out of 10. It still has problems. I still don't think he's going to be the most durable combiner, but he's definitely pretty solid now. Those ball joints in his feet are pretty solid, so that helps out a lot. And I like the way he looks so bulky. Nothing that I did is going to resolve the issue of him not being able to hold his gun because the gun's too heavy, but that's a different issue for a different day, I suppose. So, but yeah, all in all, he definite improvement here now, but not. I mean, he's not mind blowing by any means, but he's definitely better than he was. So yeah.